girl T Michelle back here with another video. And guess what? Guess what? This is breaking news. I got a story to tell. Story time, story time, story time. Now I was thinking if I should tell this story. Because you know what's crazy? I had shot this story time a long time ago. Like when I first started making videos. But somehow it got deleted. So I was just like, well, maybe that's God saying I shouldn't post it. Sometimes, y'all, you find people in the gutter and you gotta leave their ass in the motherfucking gutter. I wasn't smart when I was maybe 23 years old, 22 years old. So I'm gonna tell y'all the story about how my ex-boyfriend robbed my house. Yes, nigga. Yes, nigga. He robbed my fucking house. He didn't rob, like, he didn't take furniture or nothing like that. He took money. Alright, so let's go to the beginning. That's my rewind sound. Let's go back to the beginning. Alright, so I was working at Wonder Bread in the time, you know. I was on break one day and I met him on my break or whatever. Real tall, nice looking, you know what I'm saying? He was real sweet. At least I thought he was. I didn't know this nigga had more issues than Vogue. Like, honestly. You know, we talking and, you know, we getting to know each other and all type of shit like that. But he would always come to my house, but I could never go to his house. So that was the first red flag, was that I could never go to his house. So me being the private eye that I am, because I'm still a private eye to this day, he was at my house one day and he had fell asleep and I had went in his wallet. So I went in his wallet and I saw his address on his ID. So I wrote it down. I went in, I took his address and I took his social security number. He had all that shit in there. And I went and made a note of it. His social security number and his address. So my homegirl that I had told y'all, my ex-homegirl who set me up, my first ever story time, her. We was working at the same place. And she the one that had the whip. So I was like, girl, I don't know, but it's something about this nigga. I just know he don't never want me to come to his house. And I want to find out why. So she was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I got his address. So on our lunch break, you know, we gonna have to drive past it. She was like, yeah, girl, I'm with it. Because she was always down for some drama. Like, she was always down for it. So we went, jumped in the car, lunch break, 7 o'clock at night. I remember. It was 7 o'clock at night. Dark outside, everything. We driving. And we get to this block. And it looked like a nice block. Like, it was like Southside Jamaica. So we driving and stuff. We looking around and stuff. And then we get to this house. Like, we passed it at first. We got to the house. From the front, like at the bottom floor, it looked like a regular house. But when you looked up at the top, the windows was like boarded up and shit like that. So it like halfway looked like somebody was living there and halfway looked like it didn't look like somebody was living there. And there wasn't no lights on or nothing like that. So I'm looking, I'm like, is this shit abandoned? And she was like, I don't know. She was like, you gonna go knock on the door? I was like, I ain't gonna knock on no fucking door because the nigga don't even know that I went and took his address. So she was like, oh, all right, or whatever like that. So we had ended up meeting up again. And again, I brought up the whole, you know, when am I going to get to come over to your house or whatever like that. So he was like, you'll get to come over there when the time is right and blah, 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 blah. So I couldn't take it no more. And I was like, I drove past your house. He was like, you did? I'm like, yeah, I drove past your house. He was like, oh, so you know. I'm like, I know what? He's like, so you know that, you know, I'm living in a condemned house. And I was like, I'm like, what you mean? It's a condemned house. He's like, it's my grandmother's house. I think, what he said? He said it was his grandmother's house, but his grandmother was old. So the state came and took her and stuff like that. But it's her house or some shit like that. So they was all basically living in her house, but none of them could afford to live in the house. None of them could like pay bills or nothing like that. So they ain't have no running water. The windows was all fucked up. Like I said, those boards on the windows, the boards on the windows, they ain't had no heat. None of that stuff. So he was living in there. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, that's crazy. Like, honestly, y'all, I didn't know what to make of that. Like, I didn't know whether I should feel bad or if I should be like, what is you, homeless? Like, I didn't know what to make of it when he was telling me. I was just like, nigga, you ain't got no running water. How do you bathe? Like, you ain't got no running water. You ain't got no heat and stuff. And what's crazy is, like, when I met him, he had a real bad cold. Like, a real bad cold. That's because this nigga was sleeping in the house with no fucking heat and all type of stuff like that. So I was asking him all type of stuff. And he was like, oh, no, like, I only sleep there. I said, that's still crazy. He's like, nah, I only sleep there and all type of stuff. But that's my house. And I'm just like, I felt so bad, y'all. I felt bad. I was like, what did I say? I said, if you ever get cold, if you ever want to sleep someplace warm, like, I'm like, I don't like that. I just didn't like that. Time goes by or whatever, and he wasn't coming to stay with me. Like, I offered and stuff like that, but he wasn't coming to stay with me. I never knew why. I found out why later on. But he wouldn't come, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, I would see him, nigga, be mad cold and all type of shit like that. I'd be like, yo, this ain't gonna do. Like, this ain't gonna do. So, I don't know. Somehow or another, we ended up making it work or whatever like that. And then I found out that he had kids. I knew he had kids, but one of them had passed away. He had told me that he had 2 kids. But one of them had passed away, but he was still talking about his son, because he had 2 sons. He was still talking about his sons like they was both alive. So at first I thought both of them was alive. But come to find out, the youngest one had passed away. And the youngest one had passed away on his watch. Like, the kid was with him and his baby moms. And somehow, nobody knows what the fuck happened, but somehow the baby ended up passing away. And that led to warrants being issued for him, like all type of stuff, y'all. Like, I'm telling y'all this story, but as I'm saying it, I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck was I thinking? Because it was so much shit that I should have just been like, oh, hell no, I'm not dealing with that. Like, for real. There was so much stuff that he told me that just didn't make no sense. And I was just like, but if that wasn't your fault, like, if your son passing away, because the way he told it, it didn't sound like nobody was at fault. So I'm like, if it was nobody's fault, why do you have a warrant? And he was like, oh, because I wasn't supposed to be around my sons. I'm like, what you mean? And he's like, oh, because I ain't even going to get into it, y'all, but CPS was basically involved. He wasn't supposed to be around his sons. She wasn't supposed to be around their sons. But, you know, whatever happened, happened. So I'm going to just tell y'all that. I'm not going to get into full detail, but basically CPS was involved, and neither one of them was supposed to be around kids. But the baby mama did something, like I think she went to counseling or some shit. She went to some shit to where she had visitation. So he would come and see his kids on her visitation. But he still wasn't supposed to. So, fast forward, I guess she didn't know at first that he was dealing with somebody, and then she found out about me. Because I think his brother had told her or whatever like that. She started calling my phone. She started just inserting herself and stuff. She basically just was making it a problem. Like, you know what I mean? This was like my first time dealing with somebody's baby mama. And this is what made me be like, I'm not fucking with niggas that got kids with other women. Because it seemed like this is what the fuck happens. It seems like you can be in a relationship with somebody else, but if this bitch call and she say X, Y, and Z, then you go running. We got into so many fights and we had gotten into so many arguments about this chick because she would just do a whole bunch of disrespectful stuff, and he would never say nothing. So it was around, I don't remember what time it was around, y'all. I don't remember. But I know that I had just started working in Soho. And so it was like an hour ride from like Queens to Manhattan every day and all type of stuff like that. But I was working for my company for a minute. So I had asked if there was any, like, if there was any sites that needed people or whatever like that, if the company needed people or whatever. And they was like, yeah, we looking for people and da 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 da. So I put in an application for him and I got him an interview with my job. So the night before, this is the shit that was crazy. The night before, he was just like, yo, I really appreciate everything that you do for me. And I know that I take you through a whole bunch of shit. And I don't mean to, but I'ma change my number and all type of, he was telling me all type of stuff because I had made the statement of, this chick do not got custody of your kids, so why the fuck are you always talking to her? Why is she always in contact with you when she don't even got custody of your kids? I could understand if she had custody of your kids and you needed to talk to her to make arrangements to see your kids. But she don't even got custody of your kids. Why is she always calling and all type of stuff? So he had told me the night before, he's like, yeah, I'm a cut that off. You right. She disrespectful. And, you know, she be doing stuff on purpose because she know it makes you mad. And she know that it causes problems between us and all type of stuff like that. Got him the interview for the next day. Got up the next day. I had to work 8 to 4, I think it was. Like I said, y'all, it was an hour ride from Queens all the way to Soho. So, I used to live in a basement apartment, which they will call now an illegal apartment. So, I used to live in a basement apartment, and it wasn't like a lease or nothing like that. I used to pay my landlord cash every month. So, my rent at the time was like $1,000. My rent was $1,000. I used to leave the money on the table for him, and I had a receipt book. And he used to come, because my landlord used to, he used to work too. But anytime I had to pay rent, I would be like, oh, it's downstairs. He had keys to my apartment all the time. It was a house. It wasn't really an apartment building. It was a house. And I was in the basement. So I would tell him, like, okay, the money is on the table. Sign my receipt book, and that'd be it. And that's how I would pay my rent. So the nigga was in the house. He was in the house or whatever like that. Because his interview was for, I think, like 9 or 10 or something like that. So I went and I ironed his little suit. Well, not his suit, but his shirt and all type of stuff. I got everything ready for him and all type of stuff. And then by the time it was time for me to go to work or whatever, I went to work. And I had left the money on the table with my receipt book. So I was like, I called my landlord already, and he's gonna be down here to get the money. So the money is right there. I'm not thinking, you know, nothing about leaving him in the house with no money. Like, I'm not honestly, y'all, I wasn't thinking no shit like that. So like I said, I worked 8 to 4. So it's like 7 o'clock over there. I think I was running late that day too. Like, I think I had asked him if I could come in late because I wanted to make sure that he got ready. And I think his interview was for like noon or some shit. I don't even remember. I just know that I left the house and I was like, I called my landlord and he's going to come down here to get the money. So he was like, oh, all right, when he gets the money, then I'll leave. I said, okay. So I leave or whatever, and I get to work, and my lunch break, I'm calling him. He not answering the phone. I'm calling. I called like 1,600 times. He's not answering the phone. I'm like, well, what the fuck is going on? So I said, you know what? Fuck that nigga. I called my landlord. So I'm like, landlord. I'm like, landlord, did you get the money? He's like, I ain't see no money. I said, what you mean? He's like, I went downstairs to your apartment. I ain't see no money. I said, it's right there on the table. Because as soon as you would come down the stairs in my apartment, a table was right there. He was like, yeah, I saw the table. I seen the receipt book, but I ain't see no money. Instantly when he said that, I knew. I was like, landlord, I'm gonna call you right back. So I'm really going crazy. I'm really calling this nigga. Calling this nigga is going straight to voicemail. Is going straight to. I said, nah, I gotta go home. So I went, told my boss. I said, yo, I got an emergency. I gotta go. I had went, jumped on the train or whatever. Remember, y'all, I told you I was like an hour ride. But when I got to Jamaica, Center, I took a cab to my house. So I took the cab to my house, jump out the cab, and I'm looking, and like it was a basement apartment, so you could see the lights downstairs. So I'm looking, and I'm like, my lights is off. Ain't nobody in my house. I go inside or whatever, and sure enough, ain't no money on the fucking table. $1,000, y'all. Ain't no money on the table. I'm looking around. I'm looking. I don't see shit. All his stuff is gone. Like not all his stuff. Like I think he left some shoes there. So I'm not thinking like he's instantly. I'm not thinking that he stole. Like I'm still just like, nah, this nigga ain't robbed me. This nigga ain't take no money. Like he like, why would you do that and leave your stuff here knowing that you gotta come back? But it was stuff that he wasn't wearing. Like it was stuff that he didn't need. So he left that stuff there. But everything else was gone. I flipped. I went crazy. I was like, this nigga robbed me. Like, he really stole my money. So I'm still calling him. I'm still calling him. Then I called homegirl. And I was like, girl, I think he robbed my fucking house. Like, I think he stole my money. She's like, what you mean? I'm like, I left my rent money on the table. I came back and the shit was gone. And he's gone. She's like, did you call him? I'm like, duh. Like, yes, I called him. He's not answering the phone. She's like, girl, you got to call the cops. I call the cops. The cops come. I'm like, yo, honest to God, I'm like, yo, I know where the niggas lives at. Let's go. They're like, ma'am. What was taken? I'm like, he stole money from me. I'm like, I know where he stay at. Let's go. Like, let's jump in the car and let's go. He right there. I know exactly where he at. They like, well, we're gonna have to take a report and all type of stuff. And then they was like, do you have a bank statement or like a deposit slip that showed that you took this money out of your account? I was like, what? They was like, unless you can prove that it was your money, you know, we can't really do anything. I was like, I'm telling you. And they was just like, no, do you have proof that it was your money? Like, do you have proof that you took it out of your account? I don't think I had a bank account back then. No, I didn't. I paid everything with cash. So when they was telling me that, I was just like, and then they was like, do you have a lease? I was like, no. And then is his name on the lease? No. Like, I'm telling you, this is my shit. And they're just like, oh, well, if you don't have any proof that that's your money, because that could be his money. We go and arrest him. He could say that that's his money and all type of stuff. And I was just like, and they was just like, so you going to make a report? I said, yeah, I'm going to make a report if that's all that I can do. So they went and they took down his name. I gave him all his information. Remember, y'all, I told y'all I had his ID. And I had his fucking social security card. So I went and took down all of that shit, and I gave them all that information and stuff like that. And they gave me like a piece of paper. It was like a little slip, and they was just like, okay, you got to go to court on this day. And if he doesn't show up for court, then it's automatically they issuing a warrant for his arrest. So either way, you know, he gonna get arrested, blah, 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 blah. I was like, all right. So I was all upset. I'm calling. I'm texting, all type of shit. I get a call from his best friend. I say best friend because when I was first, it was a fucking black roach looking motherfucker. When I first got introduced to him, he was weird. Like, weird. He gave off weird vibes. Like, this nigga ain't your friend. Like, this ain't your friend. I don't care what you say. This ain't your friend. I get a call from him, but it's from his phone. So I pick up the phone. I'm like, you black motherfucker, you robbed me. He's just like, Tracy is me. I forgot his friend name. So I can't even give him a fake name. I don't even remember his name. I'm going to call him Roach because that's what he looked like. So he's like, Tracy is Roach, is Roach, is Roach. I was like, yo, where's this motherfucker at? He's like, yo, I came here. He's not here, but his phone is here. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I don't know. Can't nobody find this nigga. And I'm just like, this nigga robbed my house. Like, he stole my money. Da 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 da. He's like, yo, I could have told you that that's how he get down. That's how he get down. That's what he do. He rob people. He do this. He do that. Da, 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 da. I'm like, what the fuck? This is supposed to be your best friend. And he was just basically like, yeah, and I want to let you know he's still with his baby moms. He's still with his baby moms. They still together and da da da. And they live in that house. And I'm like, what house? That nigga ain't got no house. He's like, the house that you know about, the house that you saw. I said, that condemned piece of shit. He's like, yeah. He's like, they stayed in that house. I know because I used to stay in that house with them. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, they all in that house. He's like, it's a bunch of people in that house. He's like, I used to stay in that house. But he's like, he's still with his baby moms. He's still with her. Like, they never broke up or none of that shit like that. He's there with his baby moms. And he's like, I came here. First, he told me that the nigga wasn't there. He came there and he saw the nigga phone. That's what he said. Then he told me that when he got there, he was there and they was splitting money. Like, they was splitting hundreds. I'm like, first of all y'all motherfuckers is lying. All of y'all motherfuckers is lying. I'm like, well, I don't know what the hell you trying to tell me, and I don't know what you trying to do. I feel like you trying to distract me from what's really going on, but that nigga might be right there with you, and I believe that he right there with you. And if he right there with you, tell him he gonna get arrested regardless. He like, nah, he wanted me to let you know not to call the cops because he gonna bring you the money back. I said, listen, that motherfucker is going to get arrested regardless. He said, I just wanted to let you know what was going on. Da, da, da. He was just like, I don't know what the nigga is. I don't know where he at. I'm just like, I don't even know why you call me. You calling me from his phone, telling me this, that, and the third. Like, you full of shit. So basically, y'all, what happened was he went and stole my rent money and split it with his baby moms. They both split it. It was $1,000. So they both split 500. And they went and they did what all bum motherfuckers do. They went and they bought a whole bunch of clothes and all type of bullshit. I think he bought a few things for his son or whatever like that. And that was that. And his friend, he went and I think he gave him like $20 or some shit like that. He gave him $20. So because he gave him like $20 and stuff, he didn't give him a whole bunch of stuff. He didn't give him a whole bunch of money. His friend got mad, and that's why he stole his phone. He stole his phone, and then he called me telling me that bullshit story. He was basically mad because he didn't get broke off nothing. And that's why he called and let me know. Probably like a week or two later, I heard from him, and he was just like, I didn't want to do it. She asked me to do it, and I was like, nigga, you going to jail. Like, I don't even know why you're calling me. He was like, because I want you to, what he said? He said some shit like, oh, don't go to court or some shit. He was telling me. He was just like, I was going to come back, but then you was calling the cops and you was doing this and da-da-da-da, and I got a warrant. And I was like, well, nigga, you about to have another fucking warrant because if you don't go to court, because I think what the cops had told me, I made the report, so I don't think I had to go to court. He had to go to court. Like, he was going to get a summons, and if he didn't show up, then they was going to issue a warrant for his arrest. But he already had a warrant. So, but he was like how he got scared, and that's why he didn't come back to the house, and he going to give me the money back. He didn't want to take it in the first place, but she had told him to take it, and I was just like, nigga, I don't care what the fuck you saying right now. Don't call me no more. You gonna get what's coming to you. I already told you that whether you go to court or not, there's a warrant for your arrest. So the motherfuckers is gonna find you. You getting arrested regardless. And remember how I told y'all in my last story time, I don't remember if it was my last story time or if I was just talking. Remember how I told y'all when I was on the way to come here, to move down here, he had called me. Not called me. He sent me a Facebook message. And he was like, yo, I still got that warrant. Or not the warrant, but he's like, yo, that shit is still on my record. Like, I was like, okay. He was like, is there somebody that you can call or something to get that removed? I said, I'm not getting shit removed. I said, did I ever get my money back? Hell no. So that shit, I don't care if you 50 years old, that shit is going to stay. Man, from what I know, that shit was, because that's what he texted me. He was like, that shit is still under my name. Like, police run my name, that shit still comes up. I was like, well, I don't feel bad for you, and I don't feel bad for that bitch baby mama that you got. And I'm telling y'all, from that day on, I always had a thing with niggas with baby mamas. Because, I don't know, I feel like with some dudes, they really feel like, oh, she got my kids, so I gotta do whatever the hell she say. Or I gotta do some trifling shit, or, you know, there are niggas that do that. Y'all know that. There's niggas out there that will really do whatever it is that this bitch say just so that they can see their kids. Because you know there's females out there, well, if you don't do this, then you ain't going to see your son. Or you ain't going to see your daughter. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that was that whole situation. And that's why I've always, like, since him, I've always been eerie about fucking with niggas with kids. Because they'll always tell you, she don't really care about what I do, and she don't really be paying attention to what I do, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, until you get serious with somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying? She don't give a fuck about what you doing now because you ain't doing shit. But, say you want to get married, or say you having a baby with somebody else, or whatever, then all of a sudden these bitches go crazy. So, you know, that was just my experience with him. But because of him, I've always been touchy when it comes to dealing with niggas with kids. But yeah, y'all, his life wasn't gravy after all that, from what I know. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was in jail a few times and still running from the cops and all type of shit. Still not seeing the one kid he got. I think he got her pregnant again. They lost, it was a little girl. They lost custody of that little girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? His life wasn't never sweet after me. So, like I said, his karma, he got his karma and all type of shit like that. And I got my karma because then I started working for the government and I was able to move into a bigger apartment, and now I'm in Atlanta doing me. And he's still in New York living in his cardboard box. I didn't know. Yeah, I was young. I was dumb. I didn't know, you know, that people could do shit like that. Like, honestly, that whole don't bite the hand that feeds you, I used to hear my father say that shit and my mother say that shit all the fucking time. But I never really knew that there was people out there that would really rob you or do all type of crazy shit to you when you done help them. And I didn't know, y'all. I didn't know. But sometimes you meet people, it's a lesson. It's a life lesson. Because I guarantee y'all, after him, I told y'all I was eerie about baby mamas. Fucking with niggas with baby mamas. Very seldom could a nigga get $1 out of me. And I never rolled with cash. Remember I told y'all at that time I paid for everything with cash. After that, you'll never catch me with cash. To this day, I don't carry cash. I always got my card. I don't carry no cash. So, you know, lessons, y'all. But yeah, that was my story time, y'all. I hope that y'all liked it. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Or whatever. Don't judge me. Don't be an asshole and judge me. This happened years ago. But like I said, things happen in life and you live and you learn. You know, things happen. So, like, comment, and subscribe, y'all. I will hit y'all with another one whenever I feel like it. Because this is a lot of work. It's not a lot of work. It's just, you know, I ain't really got all the shit that I want to actually. But trust me, y'all, by next year, my production shit gonna be together. It's gonna be together. But yeah, y'all, like, comment, and subscribe. Leave me a comment. You know, all that good stuff. Show you girls some love, alright? Peace!